Hello, I'm Daniel, and I am here to talk to you about the text Song of Mind. And I'm going to talk about the first two lines of this text, and then I'm going to comment. So I'm going to recite the lines and then I'm going to comment. So these are the first two lines of the text Song of Mind. The nature of the mind is non-arising. What need is there for knowledge and views? The nature of the mind is non-arising. What need is there for knowledge and views? So we are starting in this text. These are the first two lines of this text. We are starting right away with a kind of heavy teaching. Some other texts start with maybe like easier teachings and kind of build from that. But this one, it starts right away, like throwing you in the deep end of the pool. Throwing you into the deep end of the pool. It's just immediately challenging to wrap our heads around. The nature of the mind is non-arising. What does that even mean, right? Getting thrown in the deep end. We're attaching to our minds in our lives. We're attaching to our minds and our thoughts, and that's what this is about. We sort of see our thoughts and our feelings as solid and real and important. But the question is, are they? Are they? The truth is that thoughts are fleeting. They just come and they go. They're fleeting. And I have this thought, and then I have this other thought, and then I have this other thought, and I don't even sometimes even remember what the beginning was. I don't even remember sometimes where it all came from. Right? And, if you've ever had the experience where you're going somewhere in your car and then you are suddenly there and you don't remember the trip, like that's what we're talking about, because you're daydreaming and you're having thought and then thought and then thought, and then you're just not present. You're just not present. And our meditation practice can really shine a light on this for us. Because you know how it is when you start your meditation practice. You go and you sit down and you're trying to do whatever your method is, and then you realize, oh, I'm thinking about breakfast. Oh, I'm thinking about what I did 3 weeks ago, right? You realize like all this stuff is coming up that you did not know was coming up, that you did not expect, because you're paying attention. And we are so incredibly used to not paying attention that it's a whole different experience. And that's what our meditation brings us to. It brings us to understanding how our mind works, and especially how our mind works when it's not serving us very well, when it's is going off track and out of control, and our mind feels like a crazy person because we have all these thoughts and we don't know how to handle them and we don't know what to do. And that sort of just shows us how fleeting our thoughts and feelings are. We think these things are solid and important, and the truth is they're just coming and going all the time. There's nothing to hold on to. They aren't. We're trying to, in this path, we're trying to tune into our true nature. Our views and our baggage, I like to use the word baggage a lot, our baggage, our neuroses, these things hold us back from tuning into our true nature. And for that reason, they're considered vexations. They get in the way of our ability to see clearly and our ability to make the best decisions. They get in the way. So in the same way, like, if you have a bad thing happen to you at work, and you just carry that weight around with you, and then you go home and then you're mean to your family because you had this bad thing to do at work that happened at work and it has nothing to do with your family. That's a vexation. That's what we're talking about here. That on a bigger scale. We carry around the weight of our experience. We don't like to realize that about ourselves, but we carry around the weight of our experience. And that's the situation we find ourselves in. And as far as knowledge, it says, what need is there for knowledge and views? And I just talked about views, but I need to talk about knowledge now. um, what we need to know about knowledge is this. Knowledge is not going to help us really on this path. We can learn, by that I mean, we can learn every nuanced philosophical teaching. We can learn the categories of all the texts in Buddhism. We can learn the Buddha's life story, but ultimately, that stuff can be fun. That stuff can be fun, can make us feel like we're doing something, but ultimately, this path is not about that. This is a path of action. Knowledge isn't bad, and studying isn't bad, but we have to have the experience that comes from dedicated practice for this to be anything, at all. So, while it's true that we can spend a lot of time studying Buddhism and we can learn all sorts of things and we can, impress other people with our knowledge, it's not about that. It's about what are you doing? Because we need to make sure we're doing practices to help ourselves on this journey. Meditation practice cannot be put aside. And I've once heard it said that our journey should be like 80% practice and 20% reading. So that is 80% of what we do for Buddhism is our practice, meditation practice, cultivating mindfulness, awareness, kindness, and 20% is reading about Buddhism. And I don't know about you, but I think most people have that kind of flipped. I think I have it flipped. I think I do 80% studying, so I need to change what I'm doing, and I imagine most of you do too. And that's what we're talking about here is knowledge and views can get in our way. Knowledge and views can get in our way. There was a famous Zen story about this student goes to a teacher and they're alone together, and the student starts talking to the teacher about all the texts he studied, all the things he's learned, and the teacher is like, "Hey, I'll make some tea." And the teacher starts pouring tea into the cup for the student, and he lets it overflow. He just keeps pouring and pouring, and the student's like, "What are you doing?" And the teacher says, "Your cup is already full. I can't put anything in it." And that's because the student was expressing how much knowledge he has already. And ultimately, this is not about the accumulation of knowledge. This is about cutting away vexations. This is about cutting away vexations because our true nature is there. It's not something we're trying to get. It's there already. We just have to cut through the things that are in our way. And that's it. So, that's what I wanted to say about the first two lines of the text Song of Mind. And I hope this has been helpful. And we'll talk about some more lines later. Thank you very much and have a good day.